welcome back to Growinmind. I know it's been a minute since I've posted, but like so much has been going on and I'm trying to get my life back on track. But I have a wonderful guest here. Please introduce yourself.
I am Ugonna Anna, her BFF.
Okay.
For today.
So it's pushing a little bit. But yeah, so just to give you a little background, it's gonna be a bit of a mukbang. We have food here that we're gonna also be eating throughout this, so sorry for the sloppiness. But we're gonna kind of be talking today about mental health.
Yeah.
So it's a field I've kind of gotten into and I'm kind of passionate about. So I'm gonna be asking her a few questions and then we're gonna be going back and forth on it.
Yeah.
So give you a little background. You can have a chicken as we talk.
Thank you.
We are both Nigerian. We currently live in Canada. I migrated to Canada when I was 14. 18. So right now I'm in doing my courses to become a counseling psychologist, and the area of mental health is something I kind of gravitated towards the older I got and more when I came to Canada. So my question is, I would say, for me personally, growing up in Nigeria, in the 14 years that I was there,
Yeah.
I never heard the word depression or anxiety.
Me neither.
Okay, so it's not just me.
No.
Okay. I thought about it and I was like, we grew up learning this is stressful. That's stressful, but
That's it.
that's
And
it.
It's there.
Like I never had anyone saying they were depressed or anybody saying, or because of anxiety they couldn't do this, or what bipolar was, or dissociative disorder was, or
True.
that was not something I knew about. So when did you first hear or understand what the concept of mental health was?
What did I say when I came here?
Okay.
That was when I heard about it,
Okay.
and people told me about it, and I actually saw people go through it. That was when that was the first time I knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
But in Nigeria, nothing. No one talks
Right.
about it. If you're going through anything difficult, you keep it in. That's
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
And I remember when I had a friend who would be like, she was too depressed to get out of bed. I guess because like the cultural difference and not really understanding the depth of how much of a toll mental health, like disorder or anything can have on you.
Yeah.
I was just like, what is going on in your life that it's so bad that you really can, like, to be honest, that was my thought pattern.
And
Like,
then
what is so hard you can't get out of bed?
you feel like you're too young. Why do you have to? Why are you stressing?
Mm-hmm. Because the way we were raised was there is no obstacle that you can't cross over.
True.
So even from when I was in boarding house or anything, if there's something that, I don't feel good today, you just try to get over with it, or you just don't feel well, like we never was taught or comprehended how much a toll your mental health can have on you. And even with me in taking my course, it kind of made me a little bit more aware that even with depression there's varying degrees.
Yeah.
And everyone's response to a depressive episode or something is very different. Like my tolerance level might be significantly higher than what your tolerance level might be. So because I can get out of bed and do stuff, that doesn't mean I should dismiss
Me not being able to get out of bed.
and do stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's one thing I'm definitely learning. I guess one question I would say is, do you feel like you have experienced any sort of depressive episodes or anxiety or anything like that?
To be sincere, I don't know. Yeah, crazy enough,
No?
I don't know. Because the way I process things in my head is, if something happens, I just get over it and move on.
So there's never really been a time that you just felt so like, oh my, like, I don't know. Like for me, I would say I've never really truly fallen into a depression,
Yeah.
but I have kind of felt what it could be. And for me, actually, it happened this year.
Oh.
With this whole COVID stuff, and So because I'm in school full time and I work full time,
Yeah.
traveling was my escape.
Yeah, true.
And this whole year we've not been able to do that. So at one point I started to feel suffocated.
Oh.
Like, I literally would wake up every day almost wanting to cry, but I did not know what was making me want to cry.
Yeah.
Like, I was just tired. Like, I'm in school full time, I'm working full time, and then for some reason I now started feeling this sense of like loneliness. Like, I had people around me,
Yeah.
but I still felt lonely. And so it was really hitting me hard. I remember even one time, after I even moved here, I remember texting, I think it was in the group chat, and Debbie was like, is it because it's your first time living alone? And I was like, no, because even when I lived with my mom, I was alone most of the time. But it just, I never really knew how bad it could be till I had that experience, and I was like, oh my God, I truly understand when people say I couldn't get out of bed because of this, because I was so, like, I had 3 days off.
Yeah.
And I had things to do in that 3 days, and all I could do was just sit down here and watch Netflix. Like, I wasn't even watching the Netflix, the TV was just on.
Gone.
But I just couldn't bring myself to do anything else. And I was just like, wow, like, this is really what, like, luckily for me, I kind of knew what to do to snap out of it. But I was like, this is hard. You don't realize how much your mind has on you.
Yeah.
And your mind can literally change. Like, I went from like working out in the morning to not even working out at all, because I just was like,
I'm done.
Everything in life sucks. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know. So you've never had any feeling like that? Like, not even like just depression. Let me say extreme sadness. Any sort of extreme sadness that you just feel like nothing in life is worth it.
Extreme sadness, that would be like I think a day before my birthday, I broke down.
Why?
I started thinking, I was like, oh my God, this is not the way I planned my life to be.
Okay.
This is not where I thought I was going to be.
Okay.
Like, I had all of this set up, but at this point, I've not even reached any goals that I've set up.
Okay.
I started bawling, like I started crying. I was like, this is when they tell you you make plans and God laughs at you?
Yeah, because, oh yeah, it's just like, think about it. Like, this whole year we were like, oh, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to be in Vegas, and we're going to be doing this, and God was just like, oh, okay.
I know. I just felt so, I was like, I'm going to be 27. And my life is, where am I? I haven't achieved what I wanted to achieve.
I think, honestly speaking, we all go through that. Like, our birthdays are quite close.
Yeah.
And I think days to mine too, I sat back and was like, I'm not where I want to be. It didn't put me into a state of depression, but it did make me sit, I'm like, this is not where I want to be. I see people younger than me doing 10 times better. But I knew what the problem is. I am not putting in as much work as these people are putting.
Yeah.
Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, as frustrated as I was, I want to make the same money as these people are making. But in 24 hours, they're only sleeping 5.
True.
And if I'm sleeping a good 12, there is a problem. Or if I'm still finding time for 4 hours on Netflix, there is a problem. Those times that I'm allocating to unnecessary things could be refocused into something else. So in that case, I did beat myself, but like I said, remember I told you, like, I haven't posted in a while on this channel.
Yeah.
And after my birthday, I was like, no, like, I need to stop being complacent. Every little 1 hour, 2 hour you can find in your day, fill it up with something. Like, that could be the thing that catapults you to where you want to be. But if you don't do it,
you never know.
You never know. YouTube is hard. It requires consistency.
Yeah.
I've been in school full time. This is the first break I'm having in a year and a half, and instead of me to be resting, you see me.
Yeah.
I'm recording, I'm watching my trading videos, I'm doing this. It's like, I have that free time now. This is not the time for me to be like, oh, let me relax. No. Because as Olamide said in his song Loading, the person that sleeps does not make money. You have to wake up and make money. So I think that's, I felt that, but I could that more like lit the thing under my butt and was like, no. Work twice as hard. Even if you need to buy a camera and you can't afford a camera, go get a second job and get the camera. right? So if anything, I would want you, that feeling of I'm not where I'm at, use that to feel you, but don't dwell too much on it, because dwelling too much of it can now lead to depression, because you're like sitting there like, I'm a waste, I'm not what I want to be, my mates are better than me, my this is this, like, because I'm very sure sometimes the thought still comes to your head, right?
It does. It does. But then my question to you is, have you ever met someone who had like depression or was going through depression?
Yep. One of my closest work friend suffers from depression. And I think she was the one that actually taught me a lot about understanding the concept of depression, because me and my work friend were like, she's my work wife. That's what we call each other. Work wife. We are like night and day.
Yeah.
Like, she's the palest person you ever meet. We're very night and day, but the way we gravitated towards each other was not something I expected. So when we first started working, I remember there were times a week and a half she would come to work, and I was like, what's going on? And they would just say she's sick, and I'm like, the Nigerian in me, what type of sickness are you gone for?
What is wrong with her?
It's after a while when we started talking, she'd be like, oh, she just had a depressive episode. And I really had to sit down and ask her, like, what does it feel like? Like, I really truly didn't know what it was. But for you to feel that funky, to not be able to come to work for 2 weeks, is deeper than what we truly understand. Like, it's so much more deeper than that. So she was the one who honestly made part of the reason why I decided even to go to school for this was because of her. Part of it was because she's fortunate to have been born here. Where if she goes to see a therapist or she tells someone she's depressed,
she will be judged.
There is a slight understanding, even though if mental health is still a stigma, there's a slight understanding. Now I pictured myself or a Nigerian going through the same thing. First of all, seeing a therapist is like,
Like, what's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Go pray about it.
Thank you. Or the next thing is, let's do deliverance.
True.
We're gonna pray over you, right? That's the next thing. Or, it's snap out of it. So I try to put myself in, if a Nigerian was going through the same thing, how would I have addressed it? And then I realized, no, then we need more cultural, not just black. In Canada, it's even worse. I'm very sure in the US, they're probably like more like African American counselors. We need more cultural counselors, because
who understand.
Yes, a Nigerian or a Ghanaian or a South African might not feel as comfortable going to a Caucasian.
True.
But if they come to someone who has had the same cultural understanding and they said, oh, I was feeling a bit anxious, like really anxious, I started praying. I'm not out of loop, like, what do you mean prayer? Because we grew up with, if there's something wrong with you,
go and pray.
So she was part of the reason why I decided to go into mental health and help our people. Because in Nigeria, whether we like it or not, so many people are going through mental health, so many people are depressed.
Definitely.
Look about the thing that happened, the massacre that just happened in Nigeria. People who saw people die, that right there is trauma. They're going to be forever traumatized. But do you think we have the facilities to help those people go through that trauma?
No, we don't.
Exactly.
No. We're nowhere close. And until they actually admit there's mental health issues in Nigeria, I don't think anything's going to be done.
Because trauma is a real thing. Real thing. But growing up, we didn't. Think about it. When I truly realized that, like, we had been traumatized as a kid, but we just never really... I know you didn't grow up in Lagos. But in Lagos, when I was probably about 8 or 9, we went to Lagos Market. And this man stole from the shop. And we heard, ole, 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 ole. Next thing, a tire went around him
and
he was burnt.
See, yours is even better. I grew up in a state in Kaduna where there's like a riot. People are killed in front of you as a kid. I remember in my primary school, they had a riot at the time, and everyone was running home, and I was living in the south, and I couldn't go home because my dad had to pick me up. So we had to like scale the fence to go to the next compound
for safety, right?
For safety, to hide until everything died down, and then my dad came to pick me up.
Right.
And when you're coming out, you're seeing people like
everywhere.
Dead.
And you really think we're sitting here and that? No, honestly though. And you think like that's why I feel like when I even see things that happen in the States, I get triggered, and I feel like it's part of seeing that kind of stuff in Nigeria. Like we really don't know the impact, like the traumatic things we've seen influence us a lot. But like that's like nobody wants to see dead body on the floor. I remember that day I was like, so you killed this man for stealing tomatoes,
and that's it.
Really? The amount of money you spent on the tires, the fuel, and the lighter is more expensive than the tomatoes he just stole.
And the disturbing things you're gonna see in the night, the nightmares you're gonna have, your like, conscience judging you, it's gonna be too much.
I remember every time I would go to be in Lagos and I would just hear Uli Uli, I'll be like, oh my god, not again. So those things have a play on our mental health, but we don't really understand it. Like, or maybe in our next video we'll talk about how things that we saw in Nigeria definitely traumatized us. Even boarding house was trauma.
Yeah, true.
There were some traumatic things that still affect us still today. So I know this video is approaching an end, but yeah, we'll talk about that in our next video.
Definitely.
I thank you for talking about it, because I feel like when people say I talk about mental health and I'm like, it wasn't something I knew, people are just like, huh? But see, where you live in Nigeria now, in Nigeria it's becoming something known, but back then it wasn't. So well, thank you so much for joining me on today's episode, or should I even say today's video. We'll post another video sometime when I can find time to record, to be very honest, because my life is all scattered. But thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next. Oh, look at you, it's feeling comfortable. Oh god. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.